we delve into the heart of what truly matters, our families. Healthy families make healthy societies. I'm Randy.
And I'm Leslie. We're diving deep into the powerful insights of Dr. Randy's groundbreaking book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
Hear inspiring stories and strategies to transform your family. We'll explore topics like communication, forgiveness, healing, parenting, marriage. We'll cover it all.
We'll have provoking conversations with experts, coaches, and real-life families who are benefiting from intentional family building.
This podcast isn't just about theories, it's about tools that you can implement today.
We all come from families, so this podcast is for you.
Join us on this incredible family journey. Subscribe now as we learn to do family as God designed.
Transforming families one episode at a time. Remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end. Let's go.
Hi there. Welcome back to Transforming Families with Randy. I am Randy.
I am Leslie.
Welcome to today's show. We are continuing our series that we're calling the Fresh Start series. The Fresh Start. And so have you ever had a fresh start or needed a fresh start? I think if you're alive and breathing air, you understand what that's like. And we defined it last time. How did we define it last time? Remember?
We defined it as a fresh start is a new beginning.
That's completely different.
That's completely different. Thank you.
From something we were previously unsuccessful at.
That's the key. A fresh start from something that we're doing completely new and different.
Yeah, new and different.
After we've been unsuccessful.
So today our topic is a fresh start for your marriage. Is it time for a marriage coach? Well, before we go there, let's just take a minute, and we like our little scales, on 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, like the apocalypse, 10 being like absolute bliss, no room for improvement. How would you rank your marriage in the following areas? Let's start at the first one. How about emotional intimacy? What would you rate that? What would your spouse rate that? That'd be interesting to see.
Gosh, remember the old marriage show where the couples, I'm dating myself, but the couples would sit in the booth and they'd answer a question with the spouse off stage, and then the spouse would come on and they'd compare answers. So yeah, how well do you know your spouse?
So, for you and your spouse, what's that number? 1's bad, 10's great. Okay. What about physical intimacy, your sex life? How is that? How would you rank that on a scale of 1 to 10? Just take a moment. Okay. What else in another area? How about financially in your marriage? How you handle finances? I don't mean what number is in the bank. I mean, how do you do when it comes to being in agreement around
how you do money?
Okay, what's that number, 1 to 10?
And what's it for your spouse?
How about this?
By the way, you can go home tonight after you get done with your day, and you can ask your spouse and see where their numbers compared with what you thought. That might be an eye opener.
Some of you might be laying in bed beside them right now, and you might just poke them and say, "Hey." Well, how about a couple more? What about in how you parent? How's that going? Scale of 1 to 10. 1 bad, 10 great, and how would your spouse rank that? Okay, we got that. All right, and maybe one more. How about your faith? Like your marriage as it relates to being one with God and you, like your pursuit of God together. How's your spiritual life as a couple?
Connection,
1 to
really.
10. Connection, yeah. 1 to 10. All right. Hopefully we got your attention. And typically what happens when we ask people that, the knee-jerk reaction is to put down a really high number.
It's so funny.
Oh, it's great. It's really good.
This is actually funny because we just, some of you may have, if you've been listening, we did do a 6-week marriage challenge recently in recent months. And we were asking these questions online in class and depending on what the area was too, right? Because this is, there's other people on the call and everybody's answers it was a safe environment to do it. But people put some pretty high numbers up there. And as we got into the challenge, all of a sudden, like, oh, well, maybe it's not a 9.5.
Maybe they were just realistically tempered. But even if it's a high number, that's great. But why isn't it a 10? Like, if we are doing family and if we are doing marriage as God designed, we ought to be getting pretty close to that 10 mark.
By design, it's heaven on earth.
And that's been our experience. After not having that experience in previous relationships, by the grace of God, we've found something in Him and each other that is precious and priceless. And so here's the question. If those numbers are less than 10 in every way, is it time for a fresh start? Is it time? We can't just try harder. We can't just, oh, well, it's a new day, we'll just keep going. No, by definition, a fresh start is something new and completely different in a way we've been unsuccessful.
Yeah, there's a lot of marriage teachings or whatever, and they say, well, we need to just give each other a do-over. I need a do-over. That's like code for a lot of people. I lost my temper. Hey, I need a do-over. But really, what that's saying is I need to do differently.
That's so good.
Because do-over oftentimes is
do the same thing
you
over.
Just do the same thing over and over and over again. And we know what that produces.
Yeah. And so as a couple, and you look at your marriage, a do-over is like, well, my spouse needs to, do it again and try harder because
they missed it.
Oh, they missed it. Yeah. But to do different means each of us take personal responsibility. And we learn something. We see something in a way we haven't seen it before around our communication or how we resolve conflict or what keeps us separate as opposed to what brings us together. We learn. We actually do some work.
Yeah, there are actually tools that we can teach you that so you're not going around that, you're not having that same conversation. Maybe it's not even an argument. Maybe it's just that same conversation that just never ends. There's no resolution around it. I think about money this way. He thinks about it that way. And we're just going to agree to disagree. Bad
advice.
Yeah. That's agree to disagree is outside of design. And I'll just leave that there. That's outside of design.
Yeah. We can get pretty passionate about that one. But it brings about this subject, and that is what's good enough, right? And that really is a real issue. There are some marriages that are just like, it's all right. It's good. I'm happy. But if the farther away from design that your marriage is, let's consider for a moment the consequences of that, the costs of that. Well, if we just avoid each other and we don't fight, that's better than fighting, right? Well,
or is it?
Maybe. But what about having a process where we take responsibility for our own feelings and emotions and thinking, and we share all of that in one big bucket around money or around sex or around parenting? We throw it all in the bucket, and then we both come together as one, and we're like, look at what we got in our bucket.
Did you catch that? What do we have in the bucket?
Because if I have it, we have it. And if she has it, we have it. So it's all in the bucket. And hey, how does God say we go about resolving this? And by resolving, I mean taking personal responsibility as much as it depends on each one of us, and then knowing, what does God think about this? What is God's design here? And how do we get from where we're at, all this stuff in the bucket, how do we get from there to getting into agreement with each other and God and His design? That is the picture of the kind of fresh start that many of us need in some area or another in our marriage. And the consequences to not doing that are what? What are the consequences?
Well, if you just cut to the chase and get to the core, it's the result is separation.
Yeah.
You're
isolated.
You isolate, you just avoid, your two ships passing in the night. You might have a good parenting plan, but you're not really connected. It's not like it was when you fell in love, and it's, well, he or she goes off to work, and you've got to take those kids to that practice. I'll take them to that practice. And we might sit down and eat dinner together once a week if we're lucky. It's not bad. We have sex once in a while, and And, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. And it is still so far short of design. And here's the cost. If that's how this happens here, between a husband and wife, then guess what happens for the kids?
Yeah. You're teaching them to sell short. You're demonstrating what marriage is. And as believers, and hear this in just hear this. Marriage is a picture of God, because God is one.
Yeah,
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
this is true.
And he created us male and female, and he brought us together in this context of marriage, of oneness.
Two shall become one.
The two shall become one. And if we're not demonstrating that in our homes, we're not teaching our children about God. Ouch.
Yeah. And there's little hope then that they're going to just come across it themselves someday, and then your grandkids will have it. And what happens then, generation after generation, is we get farther and farther away from design. We settle more and more. And eventually that means that the leaders at the gates of culture, when our kids and grandkids grow up and they are the elected officials, and they are the teachers, and they are the school administrators, and they are the business people, that they're living their lives out of an identity that's far short of God's design.
Right. And
all of culture suffers.
Right. Because when he designed us, he told us to be fruitful and multiply as married people.
Yes.
To be fruitful and multiply and govern the earth. And most of us think of this in the context of multiplying human beings. Like we have children, but then are we teaching those children then to go out into culture and govern the world? This is God's design for family.
Mm-hmm.
And to be what? To be the character and nature that God breathed into us in the garden.
Yeah.
We are not God, but we are to be like God.
In his image, in his likeness.
We were created in his image. We are his image bearers. And through family, then we're teaching our children. Marriage just isn't about, this might be a newsflash for some people. Marriage is not about what that person is going to do and how they're going to improve my life. If that's the way you approached your marriage, I'm guessing you have some unmet expectations there. Mm-hmm. That's not God's design for marriage, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's not to get what you want. It's not to, we worked with one couple. We probably shared this story before, but it's so funny. In all seriousness, this young man was brought up to believe that when he got married, he would have all the free sex and meal preparation and laundry services, that he would never have to do those things. Like, he legitimately believed that was the purpose of marriage. And, somebody take care of the kids if kids came along. Marriage is bliss because God's design is perfection.
Yeah.
And I think it's time, I know it's time for Christian marriages out mm-hmm. there to put themselves in a place of this fresh start. Mm-hmm. If you entered your marriage in God's design and it's just not there anymore, or you entered your marriage under the wrong pretext, it's time for a fresh start. Mm-hmm. To go back to God and ask him, what is his heart for your marriage? And are you living in that reality?
Yeah, that right there could change your life and your marriage. Ask God.
Not to mention your children
and
your children's children.
Yeah. And if you find yourself listening to us, and you're like, all right, get on with it. I'm aware. I want my marriage to have a fresh start in some way, shape, or form.
How do I do
that? But
how?
What do I actually do then? And you might even be in the place where you're like, I'm just resigning myself. It's going to be what it is.
I'll wait for the kids to get out of the house.
And that's a choice too. But what we want to do, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how we here at the Family Reformation Project, we have marriage coaches, Leslie and I, and several other coaches that we've trained and raised up, have marriage coaching services where We'll explain what that is, but let's just consider it that you may need a coach just to help you see how it can be, or certainly how to get there. We'll be right back after this.
Are you struggling with parenting, unsure of how to raise your children in today's world? Has your marriage lost its spark and intimacy? Has your family drifted apart and lost connection? Do you feel it's too late for you? Do you want more for your family?
Our team of trained and certified family coaches will guide your family on a journey of healing, growth, discovery, and transformation, all based on Dr. Randall Bixby's best-selling book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
After working with a family coach, our adult children notice our improved listening skills and express that they really felt heard by us more than ever.
Working with a family coach has empowered our kids to be able to fully communicate their thoughts and feelings. And the tools we've learned have given them the independence and confidence to know how to lovingly resolve conflict.
Our coaches will meet you right where you're at and help you learn practical strategies to shape your children's character, rebuild your marriage, and leave a lasting legacy.
Isn't it time to prioritize your family? If not now, when? Click the link below to schedule your free 30-minute consult with a family coach today.
Hi, welcome back. Randy and Leslie here. We've been talking about a fresh start for your marriage, and now we're going to bring you some real practical how do you. If your answer to that question is yeah, I need a fresh start, where do you start?
Yeah, so we've brought a number of remedies, if you will, to this issue, and basically to work with a family coach is one thing we want to encourage you to think about. With us, a family coach, what we do is we come alongside and we partner with you. Coaching is a partnership. It's not somebody telling you what to do.
It's not therapy.
It's not some professional that knows everything. He's going to tell you, just get it right, do it my way. That's not what it is. Coaching, in pure coaching, it really is coming alongside of you and understanding what is. Hey, what's going on in the marriage? What is? What's good? What's bad? What's ugly? What is it? And then it's taken you through a process that's the expertise in coaching, is a process. And in that process, we just ask really good questions in a safe environment. And we let you, the couple, get out of what is inside of you to get it out so that you can look at it, so that you can think about it and identify it and change it if you want to get a different result.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, that process, it might look like, well, what area isn't working? You say, well, we're constantly fighting. Okay. Well, how's that feel? It feels horrible. I'm angry and I feel disrespected and whatever you feel. And then we just sit with you and okay, how, what's the thinking underneath that response?
Yeah, and if you're finding yourself in a repeated behavior, one spouse or another, both of you, and it's a behavior cycle that you just can't seem to break out of, coaching helps you tap in to get to. It's important to know that all of your behavior and all of your feelings, 100%, neuroscience proves this, is generated by a thought.
Yes.
And if up to 95% of our thinking is happening at a subconscious level, and it is, then what coaching does is it helps you tap into that thinking at that subconscious heart level that's producing that chronic behavior that you don't like, or that chronic feeling that you don't like is coming out of the way you think. And so coaching in an environment with couples, with married people is getting you back into that place of getting your thinking in agreement with how God thinks. And then back in with each other. And then we do have a lot of tools we can help you implement and start to practice doing things actually differently.
Yeah.
And you can do them because your thinking and your heart has changed.
Yeah. This is a profound truth. Transformation is just regular basic Christianity 101. We are transformed. The need to be transformed is always there
For all of us.
Yeah, for all of us. And so our coaches can help you identify what is the real thinking that's the problem. Where'd it come from? And how do we change it? Do we need healing, or do we need just to see things differently? But once the thinking changes and you're able to evaluate your choices and their costs and benefits, then it becomes pretty clear of how to move forward. And you just say, you know what, this is how we're going to think. So we're going to be different moving forward, and this is how we're going to do things differently. And the result of that is your numbers on that scale are going to go up and up and up into design. And it doesn't matter what the topic is, right? Whatever area where there's the issue, it is really the same process. But that is marriage coaching in a safe environment with people that know how to hear and listen and ask really good questions that draw out of you the answers that are in you.
Yeah. And listen, some of you might be right there on the hairy edge of, I've done everything. I'm just ready to call it quits. And I want to leave you today with a challenge to go back freshly to the Lord and ask him freshly, what do you want me to know about my marriage? Because when we were talking about what a fresh start is, oftentimes I did this, Randy did this. Oh, a fresh start looks like I just married the wrong person. And I'm going to find somebody that's just different than my spouse. And then things will be better. That's what a fresh start looks like. But it doesn't. You have an opportunity, both of you right now, to make changes inside of you that will bring you into a place of oneness. Because if you choose, and you can choose to divorce. But I promise you, if you don't get to the core reason why you have shown up and reacted and responded to your marriage the way you have, you absolutely will repeat it. The divorce stats in the church are over 50%. They're no different than in the secular community. But here's the thing, some of you may not know this. Your chances of a successful marriage actually go down with multiple marriages. And I don't remember the exact number, but it's like if a first failed marriage is 50%, a second goes up to like 65, and then the third goes up to 70. I mean, it just keeps climbing. You'd think you'd learn a thing or two, right? And these subsequent marriages would be better. But statistically, that's not what happens. And the reason it doesn't happen is people think a fresh start is just that, a change of geography, a change of relationship. A fresh start is doing it differently because what you've been doing that was unsuccessful, that's what needs the fresh start, which means we individually need the fresh start. And to hang in there and choose, hey, this is something we haven't tried. We just finished working with a couple that were right there. They were on divorce. Oh, we've done everything. We've been through, 6 different marriage therapists, secular and Christian, and we're just wrong for each other. And they have a different story.
I was going to say, finish that story. Yeah. So that's marriage coaching. And you can go to the FamilyReformationProject.com and you can see how to work with a coach. And here's just the facts of the matter. We get coaches for all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
We get coaches at work. We get coaches for life coach. We get coaches for our faith. When we don't know how to do something and somebody else has processes that can help us be more effective, it's a no-brainer to think, I'm gonna go get some coaching.
Need a little help here.
And so why not in the family?
Oh, and
why not in the marriage?
Yeah, I got to say this too. This is the enemy's strategy, by the way, to do it alone.
Yeah.
This is how he picks all of us up, right? He gets the one little lamb in the flock that has wandered away, and that's the one he goes and takes out. His strategies, there's nothing new under the sun. That's how he takes us out, and we think, I don't need any help, or I'm too ashamed to get help, or whatever our obstacles and our reasons for not choosing to do something different are. That don't buy into the strategy of the enemy. Yeah. He wants to tear your marriage apart. He doesn't want it to succeed. He doesn't want you to ask for help. Jesus didn't walk alone, by the way.
Yeah.
He had a whole crew.
Sure did. And maybe you're like, I'm not so sure marriage coaching. There's a couple of other things that practically you can do. You could join our family school, where we're going to go through a lot of the same tools in different ways in a deep dive into how to do family as God designed. A big part of family is marriage.
Yeah.
That's one other thing. A third thing, and we did this unified marriage 6-week marriage challenge, and it was great. We had a number of couples, and these are experiential modules. They had a complete book that has videos and podcasts, and it's great resources that were attached to it. But we have made that into a product, the Marriage Challenge, and you can get that on our website. And it's basically that 6-week Marriage Challenge school.
But you do it yourself pace.
But you do it yourself. You get the same materials, and you're able to watch other people do it. I will say it's a lot better to do it yourself with community than to just be an observer. But nevertheless, if you're willing to do the work, you can still get the insight and the tools, and you can still do the work yourselves. And, if none of those work, then, we have some other podcasts that we've had that, you can look at and soak in. But listen, why not recognize it's time for a fresh start in your marriage? And if it is, do something about it. If not now, when? It won't just miraculously improve.
Time does not heal all wounds.
It's going to take some processes.
Intentionality.
And God has those. Yeah.
And there's help.
So listen, we wish you the best in this fresh start. Hopefully you'll reach out to us and we can be a part of that journey with you. If not, that's fine. But know that we are praying for you. In fact, Father, right now, we just pray that you would move in the marriages of the people who are hearing this podcast, that you would draw them to you and draw them to one another, and that they would choose to do something completely new and different in these areas where they've been unsuccessful in the past. A fresh start we declare over them for your glory, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. We'll see you next time. Remember this:
whoever wins the family
wins culture in the end.
See you next time, guys.
Take care. And that wraps up another inspiring episode of Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. We hope that today's conversation has left you feeling empowered and equipped to take action.
Remember, transforming families begins with transforming ourselves. Let's be intentional, loving, and persevere. You're not alone. We're right here with you.
We believe Proverbs 24:3. Wise people are builders. They build families, businesses, and communities. Through intelligence and insight, their enterprises are established and endure.
Thanks for joining us today. We encourage you to stay connected with us on social media, join our email list, and learn more about our resources and classes at the Family School by visiting thefamilyreformationproject.com.
Remember to subscribe, share with your loved ones, and spread the word about transforming families. We'll see you on our next episode. And remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end.